Hold on to your pencils, calculates. We're going to start doing the inverse trig functions. And the first thing we need to look at is what do their graphs look like? So I would like to do the inverse of sine of x, which can be written a couple of ways if you remember from pre-calc. I could either write it arc sine, or I can write sine inverse. So now remember on inverses the x's and y's trade places, which means that the domain and range trade places because those are my x's and my y's. So what that means is that I get a flip about the line y equals x. And so if you were to actually draw in y equals x, and let's say darken this sine curve with your pencil, and then you fold on that y equals x, and then rub really hard. It's really cool. I think you should do it. I think you should do maybe just one. And you rub really hard with your finger, you'll see the new impression made, and that would be your curve. So what it's actually going to look like is this. And I'm going to go back and make a change in the color. So, because I want you to see how it actually looks. Since there's two periods on this graph, I'm going to do one period of the sine curve in pink. I would like you to do this actually in color on yours also. And I'll do one in purple. And so what happens is this. It's going to look like that. So notice the purple is a match, and then the pink is a match. So I did them so that they're matching colors. And so again, if you fold and you rub, it's going to look like that. All right, so now keep in mind that the domain on my sine x function, if I'm actually doing capital sine, remember that was the principal values for sine, that went from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. And the range, so that was my domain, and the range went from -1 to 1. And so now these switch. So now my domain is -1 to 1, and my range is from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. And just to show you the section that we would be focusing on then for the principal values, from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2, we were always looking just in here for our principal values. That gives us all of the possible positive answers, which are these ones up here. And at the same time, it gave us all of the possible negative answers, which were these ones down here. And so now that portion of my graph over here is right here that I would be looking at. Those are corresponding sections. And remember, I have to limit it to this because that way I actually have a function. It passes vertical line tests. As a matter of fact, it's a one-to-one function because it also passes horizontal line test.